Hi guys, it's Christine from Tamar's Hope, and I wanted to come on and share a word. And the word is, you are what your generational bloodline has been waiting on. You are what your generational bloodline has been waiting on. And this was a dream that I had, I want to say like a couple weeks ago. And in this dream that I had, there was an older version of me, and in this dream, and I was basically on my own, and I was looking for I think I was looking for like somebody or like a family to fit into or something like that, or I don't know if I was like old enough to be adopted or young enough to be adopted, but I basically was looking, and maybe I wasn't looking, but maybe I just was like wanting to kind of connect with a certain family, and I was able to, I found a family in the group, in this group, and they just welcomed me with open arms, and they were so loving. And this is actually a really interesting dream, but so I found this group that I guess had been looking for, and I didn't even realize it, and they had welcomed me with open arms, and I kind of became like their adopted daughter or something like that. And so I was just so excited to had, found this family, to be a part of this family. And we were out shopping, I think at a consignment shop, a thrift shop one time, and this was all happening in the dream. And so as we were shopping, I was kind of like, I was not really like interested to be there. I was really just so like head over heels about finding this newfound family, and just really feeling like I had found a place where I finally like my place in the world, and with this family. And so I started to get distracted though in the dream, and I started to like get distracted with the things in the consignment shop, like the clothes and the jewelry, and then I started thinking about how I could like mix and match the different outfits, and just how I could like connect things to make them like a match for each other. And so at one point during the dream, the people said to me that the people that I was with said, "Christine, come on, it's time to go. We have to go now." And I said, "Okay, I'll be right there, just a minute." And I really got distracted with like I said, I was like starting to shop and starting to, put outfits together and everything, and just really, getting my purchases together and getting ready to check out. And they said to me again, they said, "Come on, Christine, we have to go. It's time to go." And I said, "Oh, please, just wait a minute. I'll be right there. I'll be right there." And then they said, "We're leaving now." And so I heard the door slam, and I was standing at the register, and I was like, had all these things and these items, and I heard the door slam, and just out of terror, I just said, "Oh my gosh, I have to go." And I just said, thought to myself, I've spent all my time on, buying these clothes and putting them all together, and now I can't even, buy them because I have to run. But it didn't even matter, because I had realized that they had left without me, and they had actually been telling me that they were going to. So they really didn't leave without me. I just wasn't like really, I wasn't listening to them. So I went outside, I opened the door, and when I opened the door, they had already been all the way down at the end of the street. And I just yelled out to them, and I said, "Hey guys, wait for me." And I had seen them running, and then out of nowhere, I I don't know if you've ever like watched in a movie where like people are like crossing a street and the street, and then all of a sudden there's like these people just come out of nowhere. This huge crowds just came out of nowhere in every direction, and they were just, you know, crisscrossing in front of me, and I was like bobbing and weaving and dodging, and I was like trying to look for the family, and I saw them at the end of the street, and they were about to turn the corner, and I was just screaming and I was frantic, and I was like, guys, you know, wait for me, I'm coming. And but it just, the street started getting crowded, and then when I finally reached the corner and they weren't there, and I had turned the corner and they were gone. And so what happened was, in the dream, I woke up, not out from the dream, but I woke up in the dream. Once I turned the corner, I was still dreaming, and I woke up in the dream, and it was like the scene cut, and then I woke up in the dream to another scene, and it was like, if you can imagine, like when you watch a movie, it says 20 years later. So that's kind of what happened. Like when I woke up in the dream, it was like 20 years later. And I don't remember what happened during those 20 years. I just remember that I had so many things that had happened in my life, and I could cry right now thinking of this. Wow, because like, it was just really a touching dream. And so I woke up in that dream, and so much had happened, and that you could tell that I had been through a lot. I kind of looked like I don't know, like an alley cat or a stray cat or something. Like, I just looked like I had been beaten down by life circumstances, but I still was happy. Like, I still was content, even though things didn't maybe go the way that I thought they should have, or maybe I, you know, thought maybe I was, you know, not further along than I needed to be, or I wanted to be. I was essentially still, you know, content and happy with where I was. And so I woke up in that dream 20 years later, and I just remember I had actually ran into the woman that was part of the group that I was with 20 years earlier, and she was like the leader of that group. And she didn't recognize me, but I had recognized her. And it was like, she was kind of I want to say like a mentor. Like, she was like the spiritual mom, or she was like the mentor of the group that I had ran into, that I had lost 20 years before. And then I had found her again, and she was coming out like to the streets, and she was helping people, and she was like loving on people, and everybody was just loved her and everything like that. And I didn't tell her who I was, because I didn't want her to feel sad, because we had lost all those years, and I lost her 20 years ago. And when she saw me, I just loved this woman, and I threw my hands around her neck, and she just hugged me, and she didn't want to let go. And I just like loved her, and I looked at her, and I was so happy. And we just kind of like walked off together into like, I don't know, like the sunset or something. It was just so beautiful. And I didn't know like where we were going, and it didn't even matter, because I just was happy to be with her and to had found her again. And this time I wasn't going to let go, but I didn't tell her who I was. I think I gave her another name. And but she absolutely loved me and adored me, and I loved her too. And I woke up from the dream, and when I was dreaming this, and I was writing it, well, actually when I was writing the dream down, I didn't know what it meant, and I was like seeking out the Lord and asking him, Lord, what does this dream mean? What does this dream mean? And I didn't get it for like a day or two, and then I said, okay, I'm gonna write it down so I don't forget. And I wrote the dream down, and when I wrote the dream down, when I got to the part at the end of the dream about the woman, the Lord had said to me, you are the woman in the dream. And I was the woman, the older woman, 20 years later, that the older version of me had run into and had really loved. I could cry right now. The Lord is so good. And it was like the Lord was saying to me, Christine, you have a voice, and I've given you a voice. And I want you to use that voice. And people have tried to silence your voice through so many different situations and through so many different relationships. And you have doubted yourself. You have questioned yourself. You have lost yourself in the middle of all that. But I'm bringing you to a place where now you are going to be so confident in who I made you to be and what I have for you, that you're not going to lose yourself again. See, because the older self, the older version of myself in the dream lost that group, lost that woman that was in that, the leader of that group. And 20 years had gone by and passed, and I ran into her, and I loved her, and she was beautiful, and she loved people, and people loved her. And I didn't have any questions or doubts or, and you know, like hesitancy in my mind about, I knew that I was where I belonged with this woman. And this woman was a protector of me, and she loved me, and she wouldn't let go. And that was what the Lord was saying, that I was that woman in the dream. But there had been so many things that had gone on that I had lost myself due to relationships or situations that caused me to doubt myself and caused me to question my identity and who God had created me to be. But now, after all that time had passed, I had really reconnected with that version of myself, the older self in the part of the dream, where God was saying to me that, you know, this is who you are and this is who I made you to be. And nothing is going to break this connection this time because of what I had gone through. And I just knew that I wasn't going to question and I wasn't going to doubt myself and who I was anymore and my identity in the Lord, because I had been through so much already, and that I had known that even when people had tried to come against me, or situations or relationships I ran into maybe took me off track or took me off course for a while, that it wasn't going to derail my destiny and where God was bringing me and who He was who He created me to be, and my purpose and my destiny. And I wanted to share that and say that you are who your generational bloodline has been waiting for. You are the generational curse breaker in your family. You are the one that has just allowed God to come in and use you and been open to who He has called you to be. And even though these things have happened to you in life, and maybe at times you've gotten sidetracked or you have felt derailed, God is saying that those things are not ultimately going to cause your purpose from not being fulfilled, and you not fulfilling your purpose of who I created you to be and what I created you to do. And so the older version of me just really found the older version of me in the dream, that I, had felt like I had gone through so much and I was beat down, found that person 20 years later. And that person that I found was my advocate. She was my everything. She was just like what God intended me to be. And so I just wanted to encourage you in letting you know that, you know, no matter what you've been through, that God is saying that nothing is going to stop the plan for God for your life. And you are going to reach your destiny, and you're going to fulfill everything that God has created you to do and to be. And there's going to be no stone left unturned of what He has for you. And you are going to fulfill everything that is written about you in the books of heaven. And that not to be afraid, and not to second guess yourself, and not to doubt, and not to fear, no matter what you go through. Just know that it might seem like, okay, I'm getting off course here, I'm getting off track here, but actually God is saying, no, you're right where you're supposed to be. And this is exactly where I would have you. And even if it doesn't feel like it is, like, God is going to turn it around to make it be for your good. And even if it isn't, even if it's not what God would have, or if something coming against you, God is still going to make it turn around for your good, and you're going to end up right where you're supposed to be. So I wanted to come on and I wanted to share this prophetic word and just say that, you know, that was the dream that I had, and be encouraged, and just know that you are what your generational bloodline has been waiting for, and you are the generational curse breaker in your family. All right, guys. I love you all. God bless you. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you like this content, and share it with anyone that you, you know, think needs to hear this and get this important word and this message out. All right, and we'll talk to you all later. God bless you. Bye-bye.